All right. So what's your name?
Gabriel Fisher.
Gabriel Fisher. All right. How long you been on the streets?
For about 6 years.
How'd you end up out here?
I had my house burned down in California, and I thought the girl that I was with, I thought she had my kid, but turns out that wasn't the case. I was good for a while. I had a job for 2 years, and unfortunately, that didn't work out. And I wanted to be the bigger man, make sure that my two girls and my girl had a spot to be, and I ended up having to leave the property. They trespassed me, and then that's kind of why I ended up out on the streets.
Okay. What's it like being out here for you?
It's pretty rough. It gets real cold at night, and there's definitely not a lot more places that could be worse. I could be in jail, dead. Other than that, it's definitely rough. It's a struggle every day.
Right.
It's not easy, but I made it. I'm still here.
Yeah. Where are your daughters at?
They're with her mom.
Okay.
She stays with her friend over there in South Lacey.
Did you get a chance to talk to him or see him at all ever? Or?
Yeah, occasionally, but because I'm an addict, I just kind of feel like until I'm clean, it's better for me to, not be an influence or,
Right.
better to stay away sometimes than to be shown until I make that better step and get clean.
Okay. Have you ever tried to get clean?
Yeah, I have, but unfortunately, with being homeless, it's hard. You've got a lot of people around. They influence you. And just smelling it, being around it, seeing any of the paraphernalia or stuff like that, it really weighs on you. It brings you back to that dark spot.
Yeah. All the triggers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you describe what it's like to go through detox?
Yeah. Oh man. I was in this college just not too long ago, and the first night you're there, you get one night, you sleep, but then everything after that, at least for anywhere from 14 to 20 days, you're up and down, hot, cold, irritable, not knowing what to do, but you just get through it. But yeah, detox it's not fun.
Right.
It sucks.
What's it like being sick out here on the streets?
Man, it's not fun. You gotta sit there and think of what's the next step you're gonna be able to do to be able to not be sick. And flying a sign doesn't always work, because unless you look a certain way, or people like you, I guess, then yeah, they don't help you out, or they turn the other way, or they just get embarrassed, or just don't want to look at you, don't want to help you, unless you look perfect or clean, or whatever they think in their eyes is a good image to be able to help you out.
Right, absolutely. You said you've lived at pretty much every camp out here. Can you describe what the camps are like? A lot of places don't have them.
Oh yeah, I stayed on Ensign Road. That one, I would say, actually was probably one of the best homeless camps.
What are the camps like? Like, what do they look like?
It was actually cool, because it was all maybe mobile homes, but you had a couple of tents in between out in the field, and with them being so many trailers, it was kind of like a family. You were on one road, and if you knew everybody, you just kind of were able to pop in and talk to all your friends, and everyone helped each other out there.
Right.
And they looked out, and then I'd say the lake was moderately the same, but it was a lot more hectic, a lot more dangerous.
Yeah.
You had a lot of people, with knives, guns, machetes, or whatever they did to help protect themselves, or if you had something they wanted, it was kind of like a free-for-all. Unless they knew not to mess with you, then you're safe then. But other than that, pretty rough. I'd say, and well, there's still the jungle.
Right.
The jungle has gotten a lot better. They actually had just cut down a lot of trees, and with the storm that just happened, that a lot of trees were falling on people's camps, and it did help with them cutting down the trees because now there's firewood, and
Right.
that's another way to be able to help yourself not be as sick. If you cut down firewood, go on the a nice side corner where there's a lot of people that need firewood or have houses that have fireplaces, and you can do that, and that's another way to help yourself.
Yeah. Can you describe what the jungle has been like? Like, I know it's got a lot of, what's the word? Like, people think it's dangerous, and
Yeah,
a lot of
I'd
stories
say,
about bodies. Obviously, like what happened to Donkey, and
Yeah, I would say now that it's kind of like ever since a thing with Donkey, it has, calmed down a lot because a lot of the people that were, in that, they're all not there anymore.
Right.
And yeah, it's gotten a lot safer, and really it's pretty cool. It's one of the only places. Well, it's been open since the 60s, and hopefully they keep it going, because that is one of the only places you can go, have a camp, and not be like messed with by the cops or getting told you need to get out of here, or getting picked on or messed with, or whatever it is that someone doesn't like.
Right. Is there any politics over there, like a hierarchy? I know I heard about somebody that would kind of say who was cool, who was not. I know one of the people is in jail now, but
Well, really, as long as you are at your house every 2 days, third day, that's when it kind of, you're not there to watch it, or it becomes kind of like everybody's. But yeah, as long as you're there, and you stay cool with everyone, and you're nice, then you're good.
okay. What's one of the craziest things you've seen out here?
I would say one of the craziest things I've seen, well, actually I was riding in my buddy's car, was the cops were, not in favor for the guy that was driving in front, and they rammed his car off the road, and we're trying to kill him.
Wow.
And there's just been a good handful of things, like people getting almost beaten or killed just from somebody not liking them, or if sometimes there's people that are just a little bit more mentally unstable, and they start freaking out or screaming or yelling, and someone doesn't like it, then they get hit, or you get beat up, or whatever it is that they don't like.
Right. Have you ever had anybody attack you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. I got hit with a baseball bat, and got my arm, the corner of my elbow shattered. And that was just from somebody not even knowing the situation. They were just wanting to, go off. And then there was another time where I went up to Centralia to collect some scrap metal from an abandoned building that had been abandoned for a couple years. And then all of a sudden there was a darker skinned guy that came out of the spot that they had him at watching the property, and I didn't even think anybody was there because all the doors were open, lights were on, windows shattered. It was,
Right.
It looked like it was cool. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Wandered up in there, found some of the scrap metal that I needed, put it in a bag, and then all of a sudden I hear this clack, and I was like, oh man, that's not good. I look up and I see the guy, he's sitting there with the gun, and he's like, get the fuck out of here, man. Why are you here? And I was like, sorry man, I just need scrap money, I'm trying to feed myself. And he's like, I don't give a fuck, get out of here. And then I was trying to go, and then he came down and pointed the gun at me and said, hey, put your bag down, empty your pockets, and leave. And then I wasn't going fast enough, and he went to hit me with the gun, and I dodged it, and the bag was so heavy because it was metal and copper and whatever else. I dropped the bag off, and I just started running. Got out of there, and that was the last time I went to Centralia. And then I had to ride a bike with one pedal and no front tire, or no popped rim. So I just rode that all the way from Centralia back to West Olympia.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was a long way.
That is. Is there anything anybody could do to kind of help you out of your situation, or?
One thing, a couple things. So the hand program has no funding. They haven't had any money to be able to help anybody with housing or anything like that. And like, I guess something that would be able to help me is, getting funding and getting clothes and I don't know, rain gear, or just to keep me comfortable until something does pop up. But really, just trying to get some housing.
Right.
Trying to get out off the streets because I've been out here, for like 6 years. It just seems like unless you're middle or higher class, then you kind of get kicked down to the bottom of the food chain, and it's just how it kind of keeps going.
It's hard to get out, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Is there something you want people to know about what it's like to be homeless? You think they misunderstand, maybe, or?
No. I would say, just be more humble and see, don't always just see what you think, kind of be more open-minded and be more sincere about, just because somebody looks a certain way, and just don't judge the book by its cover. Maybe read a couple pages, just kind of put yourself in their shoes and really actually wear them and walk it and think about, how it is, actually, and not just what your opinion is or what you're thinking,
Right.
Just be more of a open-minded and help, maybe you can, help someone with a food or jacket or something that you were going to throw in the trash. Instead of throwing it in the trash, maybe putting it in a box, putting a free sign on it, put it next to a bus stop where people are trying to get out of the rain or trying to be safe.
That's a good idea, yeah. Is there anything you want to say before I wrap it up?
I'd just say, just have a good life and be, love the people around you and be humble, be a good person.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And that was Gabe. I've known him for a couple of years now. In the description, you'll find his GoFundMe. If you want to help him out at all, he could use some help getting on his feet. Obviously, he's been struggling a lot lately. Thank you. Bye.